tell me about you're making more documentation. I love it, man. People want to buy this flag, by the way.
Q. See the Q?
Oh yeah, I do now. Yeah, that's why.
Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, and 17 is the number of Portugal. So, kind of what they're saying is that this had to happen in Portugal, right?
Yeah.
And it's been well predicted in Meet the Fockers in 2004.
Yeah.
Right? 2004. Imagine if that there is a radiant sun, right? Just here. Let's see. Imagine if this is, like flames coming up, right?
Yeah.
And then in Meet the Fockers, the guy's called Gaylord, and then he sticks his head in like that. So he's got the sun rays all around him, and they say, Greg. And then they start to call him Greg, right?
I remember that film. I saw another clip of it where he was talking about sitting on the throne.
Yeah, well, Robert De Niro says to Ben Stiller, who's called Greg, Greg, you're the king now, right? And that's 17 minutes and 17 seconds into the film.
No way, really?
Yeah, which is Q Portugal.
Yeah.
Right? Which is Q.
I see it. I never saw it when it was round the other way. I know I've got it on my coaster here. I've got it on my coaster.
And so they've been doing that a lot. And I've just bought a massive hard drive. So I'm getting all my hard drives into one hard drive. And I'm organising my files, and I'm finding, I've got another 60 movies that I haven't released in ages. Some of them I've never released. And a lot of them are analysis of movies.
Oh.
Right? In Monty Python and the Life of Brian, when the biblical figure is in his living room, and this, is supposedly Jesus or Christ or whatever, but he's actually Brian.
Yeah.
and he walks through there, and a woman tugs on his gown and says, "Heal me, Greg."
Heal me,
Greg.
Yeah.
Doesn't say Brian. Doesn't say Jesus, right? So they've been naming me in these positions, right? Because the position of Christ is automatically the King of England, right? So
yeah.
Queen Victoria wrote that, and I've got a letter from Queen Victoria awarding me the kingship, right? So what happened is that the Catholic Church got together in 1227, and they started to change all of the laws in the country and backdate them, right? So between 1227 and 1234, they wrote the Magna Carta and then backdated it in history to 1215, right? And I thought, this is smart, we can take over countries. So they kind of back-claimed England and Ireland doing that. And they also back-wrote the interdicts on England and Ireland, which is also fake. And in exposing that, my finder's fee is 33 1/3%, and that actually gives me all of the United Kingdom and all of Europe, right? So so I'm kind of given everything, if you know what I mean. And this is what the predictions are. He'll be given the world. So in 1302, Pope Gregory IX began to write. He wrote something like it was about 2,000 fake decrees, interdicts, papal bulls, etc. Absolutely fake. And he wrote one in 1302 called Unum Sanctum, which claims that the Catholic Church, that God created everything, the Catholic Church represents God, therefore the Catholic Church owns everything, and everyone else just leases the ownership of the Catholic Church. But when Christ returns, they'll give him the world. And then they wrote these, in the Bible and that, and their own writings for that is, they wrote this really near impossible description of what Christ would be like and what he would do. And that's the person they'd give the world to.
Yeah.
Right? And it's basically me. A colour of my feet, the shape of my legs, the white hair around here, the colour of my skin, what's going to happen to me, and just there's like 130 predictions all fulfilled. You've filmed a few of them. You've filmed
a few of them, yeah. We'll probably go back to doing that, but I mean, it's a crazy story because we all struggle with accepting it, thinking, can this really be possible? And then all this other crazy stuff going on around us with the government's lying COVID-19 riots in the streets, people are getting pushed around, locked in your house. I mean, there's so many other signs that this is a time of great change. And the actual atmosphere on the planet, Greg, this, like, because of what we did on the show, honestly, I must get 500 messages every day, and they just keep piling up, and it's watch this video, but people feel it. And all I've done really is just filmed what we actually did. I haven't been that creative. I mean, Dave Vickers, he's great, but he just edits it and puts some sound effects in, and, we filmed that what happened, but the people feel it, that it is true, what we were talking about, mainly you, but they can feel it, and they feel the change in the whole atmosphere of the planet. And it's given people so much joy and happiness. They're so excited about the change. So it's actually great. Like Charlie keeps saying, it's a great time to be alive, and it's true. It's so great to be alive. And then they say to me, well, you must have such a fantastic life now doing that. I said, well, you know what? It'd be nice to switch it off sometimes, because sometimes I just get a random message and it's this crazy insult. And you think, okay, do I get in an argument with this person? Do I just ignore them? Because if you ignore them, then they just start spreading lies and rumors, and it just more and more people might believe it. So I've got to go in there and say, now listen, you nutcase, but in a polite way. So it's a fantastic thing that's going on.
I think combined we've got about a 96% approval rating, which is
it's high. It's 98.
98, is it? 98.
97.6, if I'm completely accurate.
97.6.
I've never known a show like that. I mean, I've done a lot of shows. I've been in a lot of TV stuff, but I've never known anything like it from just a couple of middle-aged men rambling after they've got a hangover.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I wish I could talk about Portugal with you, but I'll have to talk about that with you off camera, because it was a great shoot. And
so hot. 42 degrees down there, I reckon. 42.
About that. 30, definitely in the high 30s. When we were driving back, we went back to Seville, and I noticed on my car, it was telling me the temperature, and the guys were sort of dozing a bit. So I opened up the windows. It was 44.5. It was like, when we're doing 80, 90 miles an hour on the way back, it's like being hit with a giant hairdryer and you put the windows down.
Yeah, well, I reckon that's what the temperature of the cave was, because they actually lie about the temperature in the Algarve because it's a lot hotter, right? So they say it's 38, it's 40 to 41, right? And that's in the shade, right? And with a breeze. And where you were in the cave, there's no breeze. There's just no breeze ever. And you're getting the sun bouncing back off three sides, so you've got no north wind coming in at all.
Nothing, yeah. It was just stifling.
I reckon you could add another 6 to 8 degrees. So, yeah, I reckon it was 45 down there. Yeah. So I used to, when I was in the cave, the sun would come and start to melt me in the morning. I'd literally lose 2 kilos with the sun on me before I got up. Literally, just sweating off. And then I'd have to write down what I was going to do. Like, okay, I'm going to buy a lettuce and get some water. And then by the time I got out of the cave and up the 4 meters, and then walked 100 meters to the car or the fire hydrant to basically douse myself, cool myself off, I'd completely forgotten what I was going to do because it's just so hot. Yeah. And then I had to walk 200 meters to a grocery store, and I'd have to look at the note what I was there for. It just melts your brain.
Yeah. It's difficult because we had all the equipment there as well. We took as little as possible, but we were humping all the equipment and the shovels and everything for the dig.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but what a spot! Is there any access to the? Can you get down and have a swim from there? Was there any direct access to the water, or you'd have to go to the beach?
No, there's a lagoon about 300 meters west. There's a really nice lagoon.
Can you get in there from the cliff though?
No, you got to kind of rope down. There's a big cave under there, so I swam around and swam into the cave and checked it out. And when the storm comes and the water blows in, the caves are all hollow, so you can hear the caves hitting from behind you in the cliff face.
Right.
Sound comes out through the holes in the cliffs. Right.
Yeah, we saw those on the drone when we got the drone up, so it was a cracking place.
Yeah. You see how much it kind of looks like ancient Jerusalem, the whole cliff face there.
You know, it was a strange landscape. I haven't seen anything quite like it because it's a very distinctive color. It's a sandstone color. And then I saw the black sheep you were talking about, the rams.
Yeah,
they were there. But it's a very interesting spot, and I don't get why that bush just grows all in front of the cave. It's exactly the same width.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure out where it's got the water from and why that's the only thing that's living there. That's very strange. That.
And it's the biggest moita or heather, for miles and miles and miles, maybe along that whole coastline.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything, and it kind of camouflages it because you can't see it from an angle, and you've got to come round to the front and see it square on to understand it. It's well hidden.
It's well hidden, and it hit me well as well. So, and the other thing is that there's energy coming out of the cave you can't see unless you lie down there at about 11:15 and 2:45 in the afternoon. And there's light, like photons of light coming out of the cave.
Yeah.
And the insects come in and eat the light, and they just stay there, hovering, like insects do.
Yeah.
And the small insects and big insects, and they don't eat each other when normally they would, and they're just eating this light shooting out of the cave.
Huh.
And all those, it's just a hugely primitive landscape. So in the drone shots, you would have seen a lot of spheres, like half spheres cut out of the cliff face everywhere.
Yeah, I was looking at them today. Actually, I was editing with Dave, going through the plasma arcing. I'll talk about that in the episode as well. If people want to go back and experiment and explore further that with the plasma arcing concept, we'll give them the link for that expert. Because it's certainly, you could see there were these, it's just strange. And plasma arcing. I think that's about it, Greg, for the time being. We'll talk to you in a few days. I need to give you a call privately to talk about some of the points I need to make. Just for the technical sides of things for the edit. But until then, are you planning on going back to court? Have you got more papers to lodge? You probably have you?
Yeah, I'm just giving you a brief on the Magna Carta one, and that's my ancestor, King John the First, or King John, and he hasn't. He never signed it,
He didn't.
And no, he didn't sign it. He didn't stamp it. And he didn't seal it. He never saw it in his lifetime.
So
it's totally manufactured. Well, the repercussions of this are just enormous because the American Constitution includes the Magna Carta. So I offered to Trump to rewrite the American Constitution because the Magna Carta was incorrect. It wasn't there. It was manufactured by the Catholic Church as a takeover of the English crown. So it might not be that I rewrite the American Constitution, but I've got the, mark of Prince Regent Duke Governor of North America, so titular Prince Duke Governor. I really I need to expose concretely how much the Magna Carta is a total fraud, and then also rewrite the Magna Carta, which is really just a common law document on what common law is.
Yeah.
And it's all they've done a double jeopardy thing with Catholic churches. They've given me the world, and then they've given me their fake documents, which I can then rewrite and make a hero of myself. You know what I mean? Magna Carta is fake, done by the Pope. The Pope stole the world. I've exposed that. My finder's fee is a third over 800 years. So a third times 800 is the entire planet many times over.
Yeah. You don't need all that. That's another thing. People are worried that you're going to be some great big dictator conqueror. So he's not interested in that. You just want to get people back into having an easy, good life, really.
I just want, because you just got to jump through so many hoops to do anything, and we just want to go about our business, which is living, being happy, eating, bit of work, tell a joke.
Yeah, have a pint.
Have some kids, and then they're all just they're just taking all of those simple things that make life worth living. They're just taking them all off us, like drink fresh water, breathe fresh air, clean air, and grow a veggie garden. And they're just trying to make all that stuff illegal. Tell a joke, that's illegal.
It might be inappropriate. Tell a joke.
Yeah. If you're not too sensitive, I'll make you laugh. Oh, no, thanks. No, we can't.
We couldn't possibly do that, Have you been over to the local pub now and had a pint now that they're open again?
I did. I went last week. I think I went last week. I think it was Thursday, and had a pint. And I had to, had to get through 3 staff standing at the doorway pointing to the hand cleaner.
Yeah.
So they got masks on and they're pointing to the hand cleaner, And then there's another staff at serving beer, and I said, "Can I have some of that?" And they said, "Oh no, there's none of that." "Can I have some of that?" No, that's empty too. "Can I have some of that?" "Okay." And it's just so slow. And then there's arrows you got to walk down, right? You got to walk one direction. So you basically got to walk down the middle of the pub to go out onto the balcony to have a beer, and then you've got to walk back all the way on the outside down the back alley and out to the street, and then back in through the front door, wash your hands again to get another pint. So what happened is the Soviet, Stalinist, Maoist, communist, politically
pint regime. Hey, why did he go and have a pint in that bar where William went and had a cider?
So what they're doing is they're just they're inventing useless jobs for useless people to give them a use, which is no use at all. And then no one else wants to turn up, no one wants to be around them. So they're destroying the whole drinking culture of England, which is really what England was about. It was like you go on a mission, which was buy a loaf of bread, and you take all day doing it. And you come home with a loaf of stale bread, and then you fall asleep on the couch in front of...
My grandfather was like that. He'd say, "I'm just popping out." She'd say, "I know where you're going."
At least it was happy.
Yeah. They were together. 50 years they were together. 50 years. They were happy.
Right.
Because of the pubs. All right, brother. I'll speak to you in a couple of days, Greg. Thanks for joining us today. I'll get this episode out. Oh, and a lot of people have been saying, is he on Guantanamo Bay? Apparently you're on the executed list as well. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. I have. I'm arrested and executed.
Yeah.
And it's a guy called, all caps, Joseph Hallett, right? And apparently he's a professor in the north of England, something to do with biology.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's not me. Sorry.
It's a different guy, because I said... they said, yeah, he's a clone. I said, listen, there's no way you could clone that sense of humor. I don't care how many times you try. You'd never get it right.
Yeah, the other thing, what really struck me about that is, you got the two Jesuses. So they mixed up Jesus, King of the Jews, and Jesus, Son of the Father, which was Barabbas. They mixed them two up, right? And then one got executed, right? And now you've got Joseph Gregory Hallett, world famous author. Film. I'm just person, slightly notary person called Joseph Gregory Hallett, and then this guy Joseph Hallett is reported as executed. You see what I'm saying? How close?
I thought it was just that. I didn't realize there's two people. I thought it was just you that somebody's put on the list because they just want attention to themselves.
No, it's real. So what I'm saying is this is typology theology again.
Mm-hmm.
We've got two people with incredibly similar names.
Yeah.
And one of them's getting executed and the other's going, whew, so many people.
Yeah. The wrong address.
So That's what's happened there. It's typology theology again. So with this whole story, I know we're wrapping up, but with this whole story, where in the documentary we're giving an overview, so you see the visuals, it's entertaining, and you get to see it. And when you get really into it, there's so much more details. Like we could do episodes on episodes.
Well, I'm trying to get it. Yeah, Greg. I mean, I don't know what the public want to do next. We've got this one, and then I'm going to do a backstory with Charlie, Lee, myself, and Dave about how it all started, and we'll get you on, and we'll do that. But then after that, it's August, so we'll have a chat. We'll see what the people want. I'm thinking about giving them the choice of, whether we do more. We should do more anyway. We have to, really, because there's so much more to do. And people are saying, you didn't ask him any challenging questions. And I'm saying, well, it wasn't an interrogation. So if we ask the public what questions they want, maybe that could be a good angle. We'll say, send us the questions that you want me to ask him, because I'm sure there's going to be hundreds of them, but a lot of them will be repeat the same question.
So you want to do a waterboarding interview?
Hang on now, who's getting waterboarded, me or you?
with a car boot ride in it.
Yeah.
With some Irish accents.
Yeah. Well, I've played that character in a film, actually, throwing a guy, and I hit him over the head with a hammer and threw him into a car. But I mean, we'll get this Portuguese episode is really complicated to edit, because we've got different cameras, we've got drones, we've got exterior, interior. So I really don't want to rush it, because it's such an important message. What we discovered there that you sent us to find out and document is very important. So we're not going to rush it. I put out a message today on social media saying, guys, stop hassling me, basically. We're going as quick as we can. Be patient. But I'll put it out in between as well.
Dave Vickers is doing a brilliant job editing. Fantastic.
He's the one-man band, mate. Poor guy. He's working like a maniac all summer. He's had no summer.
Yeah.
So I'm not pushing him. I'm going to say, listen, take a couple of days off at the weekend, but he's working hard. But let's get this episode out and see what people want to do next, because it's the end of July. We'll have it out early August. We've got some quarantine issues and all that other shit, which I will take no notice of. I'm telling you now, if there's anybody from the government watching this, try to quarantine us, you're wasting your breath. We won't listen to it, because it's illegal and we know what the law is. So we'll leave it at that, Greg.
If you look at typology theology, which is what happened, what is recorded then is going to be happening now in another location.
Yeah.
The Romans trying to stop the apostles getting together to make a little movie on what really happened. And so you guys are being stopped from coming to England to film me in exactly the same way that the Romans were hassling, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Paul, not Paul, he came later, all the dudes hassling them. And it's exactly the same scenario. They're just playing it out. They're absolutely playing it out.
Interesting. Well, I won't talk about it here, but I've got a really cunning plan. I'm not flying directly to England, to tell you that. I've got a really cunning plan how to get there.
This little rubber.
No, I'm not talking about it publicly, but I don't care what they do. They won't keep me out, because I've got a nice little plan set up to get us back in, so don't worry. So, Mister, you have a very good week. I'll talk to you tomorrow, maybe Friday as we get closer. I need some help with the edit, but thank you for taking the time, Greg, and sharing all this info. Look at that amazing.
Hugh.
You'll just drive him even more demented now. There'll be another 5,000 messages coming to us. Now he says he's Q.
In terms of the flags, we've got the flags. The suppliers don't like sending them overseas because so much material does not make it when it gets sent overseas. But people can buy the flags, and if they're responsible for the postage from pickup, I'm quite happy to supply them. Or we can post them to a UK address, and then we can post it from there. I believe they're £155 without postage.
All right, but your other guy takes care of that, Daryl, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that includes the pole, which extends up to about 2 meters. So, yeah, more the better. Put them on your Humvee.
Yeah, on your RV. All right, Greg. We speak soon, bro. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.